What's up, big dog?
What's up? What's up?
We doing, partner?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic.
I like it.
What's up with the hair? Did you cut your hair, man?
I did, man. The fiance told me that
a boo
it was
to the haircut.
hard to get in the mood when I was rocking the 1970s hippie rock look, and that's the number one reason to cut the hair. The number one reason.
I get it.
I'm not gonna lie, it hurt a little bit. I was like, as long as been a minute, it hurt a little bit. But when mama says no loving, it makes you make decisions, Rashad.
Absolutely. Completely understand that.
Or maybe you take control of the situation so you don't put stipulations on me. I put the stipulations down.
Oh, no.
This is my hair.
Yeah, if I put stipulation, she put a stipulation, and her stipulation wins.
Facts.
That's the number one stipulation.
It's true.
For some reason, hang your own Christmas lights don't hit as hard as the other one.
Very true.
Still pretty disappointing because he was going to let it grow for a year, and I was really interested to see how long it would be.
I was too, but when she hit the part, she hit the part.
Dave in the chat.
Look at the boys popping on. What's up, everybody from the PMP Army? Y'all got like a fan club, like an official fan club name?
We call them chat cats back in the day, but you know, it's grown, so I need to come up with something new.
I've decided to put away the spy music because this is too serious right now. When you talk about marching, it's just too serious.
It's go time.
Look, we got people in the stream throwing up the follow advertisements for the Panther Nation podcast. I love it.
It's my guy Grandizer, man. He's like a mod for my channel, and he's on it everywhere I am. Anytime I go live, he's there. It's holding me down. So I appreciate Grandizer.
Oh, it's almost like you know what we're going to be talking about. Almost. It's Thursday. It's 8:20. That means it's time to talk Carolina Panther football with Rashad Beer, one half of the Panther Nation podcast. And listen, no James Bond music today. No jokes going in. We're very serious right now. All right? Why are we serious? First off, hello, Rashad. How we feeling, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I couldn't be better.
We were talking earlier. Lonzo and I were talking since we moved to the morning show. We've had to go through the 7 stages of grief with the acceptance of the alarm going off at 3:00 in the morning, right? We've had to get there. I hit this morning. I've hit acceptance. I'm just like, this is just my new reality in terms of where Carolina is in the stages of depression. Are you at depression? Are you at grief? Are we at acceptance? Like, where are you sitting right now with watching where Carolina is somehow getting worse the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating, and it's not just the feelings don't just come out for this year, right? This is we've been dealing with this for a while now, and it seems like we're not getting better. There's no improvement being had, so this is not in the whole, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but this whole thing was not about it this year, and it's not about a particular GM or getting a particular coach getting fired. That's not the case. We have a larger issue with the Carolina Panthers, and that's why we lead to the frustration.
We got folks in the chat going acceptance. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Look,
No, I'm with the anger part. I mean, because when you're jumping in and out of play calling and all these different things, it's showing even more confusion. It's not good.
So I want to come to Frank Reich taking over the play calling here in just a minute, but I want to address what you just first said, Rashad, which is this is not about play calling. It's not about a head coach getting fired. This is bigger than that, and it's more consistent than that. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. I gave on Tuesday, like, here's my plan of action to fix the Panthers. And the more I talked about it, the more I realized that all the things that I talked about doing, they all connect more to Fitterer than Frank Reich. And honestly, they might even connect to Dave Tepper more than they connect to Scott Fitterer. And if this is truly an ownership problem from a guy who thinks he's the smartest in the room and won't listen to football guys, to me, that's like an existential problem, because that is the one piece of the puzzle that cannot be changed unless he says, I fire myself.
Rob, bingo. That's the problem. That we have a Dave Tepper problem. Let's be honest, right? And so here's the deal. You know, the whole March on Mint, which we'll probably talk about, that this is our message to David Tepper, is that when you look across at what we've done this past 6 years under his ownership, 32% win percentage. You compare that to current owners in the league in their first 6 years, it's one of the lowest. So we have a problem here with our ownership, and I think that he needs to take a step back, get the right people in the room, and listen to those folks and allow them to make their decisions. You can tell, you can see it. You know, Frank Reich having these conversations with David Tepper, and we're making these decisions to flip play call and flip it back, and you can tell this is David Tepper. It has David Tepper written all over it. And if these guys aren't going to be allowed to do their jobs, we're going to be continuing in this situation until we can get the David Tepper problem solved. And if he's not going to sell the team, that's not what we're asking. We're not asking David Tepper to sell the team. That's not going to happen. What I'm asking David Tepper is to allow these guys to work. And, you know, there's a clip floating around yesterday about, I had to call Scott Fitterer to get this trade pushed because we need to get Bryce Young. We want to get the number 1 overall pick. Bro, you gotta let the GM cook. That's his job. Let him cook. And so if you're not going to let them do their jobs, then what's the point of having them?
One of the biggest problems in the NFL to me for a lot of bad teams over the years, Rashad, has been when owners don't let football dudes do football things, right? Like, and you think about the owners that we accuse of that, and I'm talking about the Jerry Jones. I'm talking about, like, we would say Bob Kraft, but Bob Kraft got bailed out by having Tom Brady, and look at what the Patriots are since Tom Brady left and went down to Tampa. When we talk about the owners that are hands-on, it is more often than not self-made billionaires, if you can call them that, self-made billionaires who always feel like they're the smartest dude or chick in the room and want to be in control of the situation. I'm putting Gail Benson of the Saints into that same category. Like, since Tom died, she wants to be hands-on at every decision, and we've been trending downward ever since. It is the worst problem to have because, as you mentioned, in order to fix it, the owner has to say, I'm wrong and I screwed up, and people in that level of power aren't willing to do that. That is what scares me for the future of this franchise, is in order for Tep to make the changes that you and I agree have to be made to fix this team, the first thing he's got to do is grab a microphone and go, I'm wrong, I messed up, I made some bad decisions, and I'm stepping out of the way. And guys who have made money that way, they don't do that, Rashad.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And there's a trickle-down effect to that, right? We have to realize that. And that's why we as a fan base need to step up and say, hey, bro, we don't like this, bro. Like, we have been. Again, he talks about how when he first bought the team and before he got rid of Ron Rivera, he was talking about how he's not going to accept long-term mediocrity in any business venture, including this football team. He said that countless times. Bro, we have not met the mediocre bar. We're not even mediocre. We haven't met that bar, right? And I keep hearing people say, and some of the players, some former players, nobody wants to win more than Tepper. And you can see it. You can tell all these moves that he's making. Nobody's saying that I can see that he wants to win. Nobody's denying that. The problem is you have to take certain steps, right? I want a lot of things in life, and I'm not going to get them unless I take the right actions. If I don't take the right actions, I'm not going to get what I want. So there's a reason why Ben Johnson decided to go back to the Lions. There's a reason why D'Amico Ryans decided to decline his interview. There's a reason why Gerard Mayo declined the interview. There's a reason why Pep Hamilton declined the interview, right? So we're essentially, the fan base essentially held hostage until David Tepper can find a guy that's going to work with his style. And he may find that guy. He may find a guy that blends and works perfectly with what he wants to do. And we could find a match made in heaven. But until then, we're going to continue to see what we're seeing on the field.
And let's talk about that, because that's difficult, specifically when we talk GM, because I think if you're talking ownership problem, the next thing that you've got to deal with is the GM under him. And if you are a GM that is known for having success, 90% of the time, that's because your owner goes, go do your thing, right? I'm going to get out of your way. You go do your thing. Do GM stuff and make us good, and I'll get out of the way. And guys like Jerry Jones and now I think David Tepper don't do that. They want to be involved, and they want to take part in the process and therefore take credit. The problem is, if you have an established GM who is used to doing things their way, they're not going to want to work under an owner who they know is calling them up on draft day and going, I know you had these plans, but I'm going to need you to push up and get my guy. When the GM's going, that's not necessarily our guy. When he calls and says, this is what I want to happen, the GM is kind of a pointless position at that point. You're just the GM now, Tep.
Yep.
And if that is the way Tepper's going to operate, then even if you move on from Scott Fitterer, how the hell are you going to get at a GM who's had success already, who's not going to want to just be the fall guy for whatever David Tepper decides he wants to do?
Exactly right. And that's why it's not going to matter who the GM or who the head coach is, right? There's a lot of anger towards Frank Reich and what he's doing right now. There's a lot of anger towards Scott Fitterer and the personnel that he's bringing in. But it's not going to matter. And it's like you're saying, they're being told what to do, essentially. In certain cases, I'm not saying every step, but there's when it comes to the big decisions, it appears that direction is coming from somewhere, and they're not allowed to necessarily do their jobs. And again, I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I know the inner workings of the Carolina Panthers, because I don't, and I don't want to get off that indication that I do. But there's a lot of things coming from the front office, and there's a lot of news reports coming out there. And where there's smoke, there's fire. And so I firmly believe some of the reports that are coming out. And until it's not going to matter who the head coach or who the GM is until we fix the organization. It starts at the top. And until that problem is fixed, we're going to be in this endless cycle of losing until we find another way to get this done.
It kind of is a conversation that I'm sitting here as a host like, all right, we got to talk about Frank Reich taking over the play calling. We got to talk about the odds that Frank Reich is the next coach to be fired. But that, in the face of all this noise about Dave Tepper, it kind of feels irrelevant, right? Like, it kind of feels like it doesn't really matter what happens. That being said, Frank Reich has, I think, the last 2 weeks really taken a lot more heat than he did in the first 6 weeks. I said a few weeks ago, Rashad, I don't care if the Panthers win another game, as long as every week I can see that team getting better and moving forward. They're actually regressing, and this was very interesting to me. I went and looked up the odds of the next NFL head coach to be fired, because I thought Frank Reich could be like somewhere 6-7. He's second, and the only guy with shorter odds, and it's not by very much, is Ron Rivera of the Washington Commanders. A coach we've known going into this year was probably his last year, unless they made the playoffs. And spoiler alert, they're not going to. The fact that Frank Reich has jumped up all the way to the second shortest odds based on that regression the last couple of weeks is completely unsurprising.
Yeah, it's not. And listen, there's a lot of reports coming out now, and it's pretty timely, if I might ask. And there's a lot of there's a lot of things happened over the weekend, and now you're starting to hear a lot of these reports coming out that Tepper isn't happy, and if they're not seeing improvement, well, what a coinky dink. But I agree with you that, listen, I commend Frank Reich, to be honest with you. This is a tough position to be in. And I know it was a tough decision for him yesterday to announce that he's now taking play calling back. But essentially, what's happening is that Frank Reich is falling on his own sword. If he's going down, he's taking responsibility for it, and I commend him for it. I commend it because, listen, Thomas Brown, you give him the play calling, and if things weren't going well, it doesn't matter who's calling the plays because he's calling from the same playbook. And I believe there's a larger issue with the playbook, but it does not matter at the end of the day. But for him to take it back and say, you know what, I'm gonna be the leader of my own destiny. I'm gonna control my own destiny here. I gotta kind of commend him for that. And if he's gonna do it, if we're gonna get fired, it's gonna be me at the helm. So I gotta commend him for that.
Listen, I thought the same thing, different reason. When I saw that Frank Reich was taking the play calling back, I had the immediate thought of, okay, he's been told, right? Like he's been told, hey, dude, the hot seat is hot now. The fact that he has taken this, it's not necessarily waving the white flag. It is more doing everything in his power to have one last stand in case he is going to be the next guy that's let go. Like you said, it's I'm going to fall on the sword. I am going to take responsibility for whatever happens so that if I get canned, it's on me. That being said, Frank Reich did not win a game as a play caller. So my question mark is not, why are you taking the play calling back? It is, what the hell are you going to change now that you did?
Right. Yeah, bingo. And that's why I said it's the same playbook. They're making some moves. They're doing some things a little different. I think they're going to try to mix it up. The good news is that Laviska Shenault is back. You're going to get one of those. He's a key element. If you go back to training camp, we saw a lot of good things with Laviska Shenault, and we have yet to see those. And maybe with him coming back and be healthy, maybe that adds a little sprinkle to the playbook. Maybe it changes things. I don't know. But again, I'm not, like you said, Rob, I'm not looking for a W. I don't expect us to beat the Cowboys, but I want to see Bryce look better. At the end of the day, whatever happens with Frank Reich, Bryce is going to be the guy for the next 2 to 3, 4 years or whatever. So I need Bryce to look better, right? I want to see Bryce look better. And if we can get some offense, some competent looking offense out there, then cool. I'm okay with that. Again, our expectations weren't crazy. We just want to see Bryce develop. We just want to see competent offense, right? It's not a crazy ask. We as in PNP, Rob Brown Show, we have realistic expectations, man. We weren't coming out here saying playoffs. We weren't coming out here saying a lot of things. We just want to see Bryce develop. We want to see a team be competitive. The defense is doing and I got to always say this when I'm critical about the team. I got to give Evero his credit. He's doing a fantastic job. Defense is doing an amazing job. So salute to the defense. The offense just needs to get some work, and we need to see some progression there.
Look, there were some Panther fans who said playoffs this year. You and I spent the preseason going, hey, y'all got to walk it back. Walk it back. You're going to be disappointed. That is why I've said they don't win another game, I'm fine, as long as I'm seeing progression predominantly out of Bryce Young, but really out of the squad. And we just haven't. That's just the reality. So knowing that we haven't, I go back to that Thursday game last week, a loss on the road at Chicago. And I have pointed out that it was a field goal you hate to say close game, but that is without Shenault. That is without Chark. That's without whatever tight end was missing. That's without Brian Burns. That's without 7 of 11 defensive starters from week 1. A fully healthy Carolina, a fully healthy Carolina team wins that game, and we might be having a little bit different conversation. But the reality is you didn't, and all the expectations were just show us you're getting better, and you can't even meet those. That is why I have hit in the stages of grief department. I've just hit acceptance of this year is what it is. And the only thing that sucks about it to me is it is a wasted year of Bryce Young. It doesn't mean he can't bounce back. The Urban Meyer year for Trevor Lawrence was a wasted year. I said his second year, Trevor Lawrence, his second year was his rookie year. Herb's gone. The toxicity of that team is gone. And now TL's a playoff caliber quarterback. The only hope I can have is that Carolina stumbles into their own Doug Peterson, and that's what happens for BY.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. If you want to mirror the Jaguars' progression, you hit the nail on the head, right? Or the whatever the saying is, right? You spot on. You're accurate, right? We got the bar is Trevor Lawrence. We want to see Trevor Lawrence situation here with Bryce Young, right? That's the only thing we can. And it took them to fire the coach, get a new coach in here, and then things started going the right direction. Right. And that's where we are. Hopefully we can get that out of Bryce Young. And again, it sucks for Bryce. It sucks for Bryce. And this is what we wanted to avoid. This is what I've been preaching all offseason about. When you draft a quarterback, you have to draft them to the right situation. Scott Fitterer and everybody else sold us, right? David Tepper, Scott Fitterer, everybody at the top sold us that all we needed was Bryce Young. You put in the quarterback and we're good to go. That's what was said all offseason, and it's been an epic failure. So unfortunately for PNP and the Rob Brown Show, we're not getting our money. We're not getting our money because we're gonna be. It's not looking good. You know what I mean? It's not looking good. So hopefully, like you said, Trevor Lawrence is what we can hope for. In year 2 and 3, things get better. But to that, our Super Bowl, our playoff window is shortened by a year, right? And that's what sucks about the situation.
All right, let's last one before we let Rashad Beer get up out of here for the day. Just survive against Dallas, right? Like that's the game plan is just survive. Don't get BY killed. Don't let Micah Parsons turn him into a piñata. Just survive this weekend and get ready for Titans, Bucks, and Saints the 3 weeks after that. That's the only goal I have. To the point that I said earlier in the week, I'd play Andy Dalton this week just so I don't get BY sent to the damn hospital, Rashad.
Yeah, just survive. I don't look forward to even attending this game. It's going to be Cowboys, 60% Cowboys fans in the building. It's going to be bad. It's going to be one of the worst. This is going to be one of the worst showings from Panther Nation in the situation that we're in. Our stadium's going to get overrun by, and the Colts fans did it, the Vikings fans did it, but this is going to be a whole nother level. Cowboy Nation is going to come over and take over Charlotte and Bank of America Stadium, and it's going to look like a home game for them, and it's going to be unfortunate for Panther Nation.
I'd like to say that Dallas does that everywhere they go. It's going to be bad. You ain't wrong.
Bad.
You ain't wrong. Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. Make sure you are subscribed to them on YouTube as well. Get that bell turned on because they go live all the time. Are you going to be drinking when you do Dallas v. Panthers breakdown? Because I might be.
I don't know, man. Probably not. I probably don't. I need to be sober for sure because things are going to get bad if I. So no, I'll be sober.
It's probably a smart way to handle it. Rashad Beard, appreciate you, big dog. We'll talk to you next week.
Peace out, guys. This is fun. Again, every week, man. Shout out to the Rob Brown Show, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you as always. And to all y'all from the PNPR be joining, you can follow me on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show as well. Rashad stops by every Thursday to talk Panther football. We'll see him back here next week. Maybe if he makes it through the week. We'll find out. We're back after this. Emily Adams talks Gamecocks football next on The Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right. Y'all are welcome to stick around. Appreciate y'all coming by to hang out with Rashad Beard. Good to have everybody. If you dig the show, we're live every single morning from 6 to 10 a.m. At The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. You can follow us there. Go live with us. We talk everything, including complaining frequently about Carolina Panther football. That's what we do. So, yeah, feel free to follow us on YouTube and stick around, man. If you need some morning sports yelling, that's what we're here for.
Thanksgiving's next week, so Rashad won't be here.
That's right. I'm going to talk to Rashad. We may have him come by on Wednesday. We'll let y'all know. Yeah, Rashad kills it every week. I have enjoyed watching